Okay, picture this. A massive, incredibly advanced civilization just vanishes. They leave behind these totally empty streets and quiet cities, and then, out of nowhere, a brand new group of tough warrior nomads arrives on the scene. So what happened? Did these fierce nomads destroy those ancient cities in some epic battle? Or did they just happen to move into a neighborhood that was already empty? It's literally the ultimate ancient history mystery, and today we're going to crack the case. Welcome, history detectives, to today's Explainer. We're diving deep into the arrival of the Aryans. We're going to uncover exactly who these fierce warriors were, how they lived, and the absolutely amazing clues they left behind for us to find. Produced by Waqas Ahmed Shah, educator, AI agents, and automation builder for educators, traders, and startups. Karachi, Pakistan. Let's take a quick look at our map for today. First up, the ancient history mystery. Then we'll meet the fierce Aryans. Find out why they're an archaeologist's worst nightmare, look at their wealth in cows and horses, see them settling the Ganges Valley, and finally wrap up with a quick recap. Let's go. Section 1. The Ancient History Mystery. All right, let's set our time machines way back to the year 1500 BC. The timing here is absolutely crucial. Right around 1500 BC, the incredible Indus Valley civilization completely ended. And right around that exact same time, a new group of Indo-European people arrived. They called themselves the Aryans, which translates to the noble ones. Now, this brings up a massive debate among historians. Did these fierce new arrivals actually destroy that great civilization and drive everybody out? Or had the Indus Valley already declined for totally different reasons, just leaving the land wide open for the taking? Well, the truth is, historians still don't know for sure. Section 2. Meet the fierce Aryans. So, who exactly were these people popping up on the map? Well, the Aryans had been living since about 5000 BC, way up north on the steppes. Those are these wide, grassy plains by the Ural Mountains. And let me tell you, surviving that freezing, harsh life made the Aryans incredibly tough. They were nomads. That means they didn't build permanent houses at all. They just constantly traveled around looking for fresh grassland for their animals. When they finally migrated south, they came right through the freezing, high mountain passes of the Hindu Kush. And they definitely didn't just walk. They were expert horsemen. They rolled into the Indus Valley on ox carts and these super-fast, two-wheeled, horse-drawn chariots, waving shiny bronze weapons. They were fierce fighters who honestly could have easily defeated local peaceful farmers. Just to put this into perspective, here's how historians break down the timeline. Around 1500 BC is when the Aryans first hit the Indus Valley. Then, the next 500 years, from 1500 to 1000 BC, is known as the early Rig-Vedic period. After that, from 1000 down to 500 BC, we enter what's called the later Vedic period. So we are talking about a solid 1000 years of history here. Section 3. An archaeologist's worst nightmare. Now, usually when historians want to study ancient people, they just dig up their old stuff, right? But the Aryans made this almost impossible. Because they were nomads, always packing up and moving to find fresh grass, they simply didn't stick around long enough to build giant stone temples, heavy pottery, or permanent cities. And if you don't build anything, you don't leave anything behind in the dirt for scientists to dig up thousands of years later. They are quite literally an archaeologist's worst nightmare. So, how do we actually know anything about them at all? Well, it turns out they left us something even better than stone buildings. They left us their words. It's called the Rig Veda. Rig basically means hymns, and Veda means knowledge. This thing is a massive collection of 1,028 religious poems, songs, and prayers. Aryan priests would chant these hymns to praise their gods, and today, these songs hold almost all the clues we have about how they lived, what they believed, and what they really valued. And the Rig Veda is actually just the first and most important of 4 Vedas. The other 3 are the Yajur, Sama, and Atharva Vedas. But get ready for the most mind-blowing fact of the day. They didn't even have a writing system. For hundreds and hundreds of years, every single one of those 1,028 songs was just perfectly memorized and passed on entirely by word of mouth. No way, right? It wasn't until around 300 BC that someone finally sat down and wrote them out using an early form of a language we now call Sanskrit. Section 4. Wealth in cows and horses. Okay, let's look at one of the most surprising clues we found hiding inside those ancient songs. Think about how you buy things today. You use paper cash, coins, or maybe a plastic credit card. The Aryans, they didn't have a money system at all. Instead, they used cattle. Literally, cows were their cash. Imagine walking into a store today and trying to buy a new video game by just handing the cashier a giant mooing cow. For the Aryans, your entire wealth was measured simply by how many cattle you owned. If you had more cows, you were rich. And because cows were essentially their cash, they were absolutely willing to fight for them. Check out this epic quote from the Rig Veda, from something called the Hymn to Arms. It goes like this: "With the bow, let us win cows. With the bow, let us win the contest and violent battles. Let us conquer all the corners of the world." I mean, that pretty much proves that war was a massive part of their lifestyle. When they rode into battle firing their bows and arrows, their main goal wasn't just capturing land. It was literally winning more cows. Right behind cattle, horses were their second most important animal. In fact, the Aryans actually introduced the horse to the Indus Valley in the first place. They used them as these powerful battle animals to pull their fast chariots and totally trample their enemies. And just a quick history fact to clear things up, while cattle were treated as money, the Aryans actually did kill and eat them for food. Historians tell us that back then, cattle were not treated as sacred animals like they are in some cultures later on in history. Section 5. Settling the Ganges Valley. So up to this point, we know they were wandering, cow-loving warriors, but things were about to change in a really big way. Over time, these tough nomads from the cold steppes started to adapt. Step 1, they began spreading east into the lush Ganges Valley, where the river flooded predictably every single year, making the dirt super rich. Step 2, they started chopping down the thick forests and began planting and cultivating their own crops. And Step 3, they finally stopped wandering. They actually became village dwellers, settling into permanent homes. These new tribal villages were ruled by a king called a Raja, and the Raja was hereditary, meaning the job just got passed straight down from father to son. The nomads had officially become farmers. Section 6, Quick Recap and CTA. We have uncovered a ton of clues today, so let's piece this whole mystery together. Here's the big picture. Who were they? Fierce nomads from the north who measured their wealth in cows and were eventually ruled by kings called Rajas. Where did they go? Well, they traveled all the way from the freezing steppes, down through the mountain passes, into the Indus Valley, and finally settled down as farmers in the Ganges Valley, becoming a massive part of ancient Indian civilization. And their legacy? They brought the horse and the chariot to the region, and they left behind the incredible 4 Vedas, especially the Rig Veda, which gave us the early roots of the Sanskrit language. Now, before you go, I want you to think about this question. How would your life be different today if we still measured our wealth in cows and horses? Seriously. Where would you keep your allowance? How would you buy groceries? Keep thinking like history detectives. I hope you had an awesome time cracking the case of the fierce Aryans today. If you want to uncover even more amazing secrets from the past, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and follow. Join us for our next incredible history mystery, and we'll see you next time.